How likely is a no-deal Brexit now looking? Is it becoming more of a central risk?
Good morning, Manners and Naira. Well, let's not forget that it is still the default position, isn't it? So come April the 12th, if nothing is done by anybody to change the situation, then April 12th remains the date where we would see a no-deal exit from the European Union. Also, let's remember, a lot of Conservatives quite like that idea. So we saw this was a very popular option in the indicative votes process last week amongst the MPs in the Conservative Party. And over the weekend, we saw reports and then confirmation that 170 Tories, including 11 cabinet ministers, have written to Theresa May asking her to push for a no-deal Brexit. So it does remain something that is popular, and with a leadership contest coming in the Tory party, maybe they think that will be popular with the grassroots. Could something softer emerge, though, is a crucial question to ask ourselves. We see another stage of that indicative votes process taking place today. Last week, we saw a long list of 8 or so options being voted on. Today, they narrow that down to see if they can get a majority for something. So we'll be back to talking about the possibility of a customs union, some sort of confirmatory second referendum, perhaps, on whatever deal is agreed to in the House behind me. So there is still very much the possibility that something softer might emerge, but would that require a delay after April? And that'll be, of course, talked about very much at that April 10th EU Leaders Summit, which has now been called.
And Anna, good morning. What about the chances of another general election? Because we're hearing that the Conservatives are taking pragmatic steps to prepare for a snap election.
Yeah, James Cleverly, who's in the leadership of the Tory party, deputy chair of the Conservative Party, saying they are making these pragmatic steps. Even if it's not the path they want to go down, they are sort of in the background getting ready in case it's deemed necessary. And the argument for a general election, I mean, the Conservative Party, on the one hand, you'd think, why would you call one when you risk diluting what control of the House you have right now? But on the other hand, if you step away from the red lines that Theresa May set out in her manifesto, there is an argument that maybe a general election is needed to try and get an idea of what it is now, 3 years after the Brexit vote, that the people of Britain actually really want. Other means of delivering Brexit, though, or indeed changing course, are also being talked about here. So there's still such a wide possibility of outcomes, and that's what's still so amazing. After the 29th of March 2019, where we thought things would be so different, calls for a unity government. John Major, former Prime Minister, is calling for that. George Freeman, who's the former number 10 policy chief, also making the point that this could be something that's important. Meanwhile, within the Conservative Party, it's not all about the ERG. One Nation Conservatives are trying to unite to up the more pro-European voices coming out of that side of the Conservative Party. So there's a lot of confusion still about the way ahead. The focus in the very short term today is on narrowing down these indicative votes, what it is that the House behind me could really get behind.